couple people in the waiting room. Good morning. I hope everybody is doing well. Thank you for joining us for our April webinar. Um, this is hosted by the Office of Greenways and Trails, and my name is Gabrielle Stewart. Today, we will be featuring Sam Carr, president of the Bartram Trail Society of Florida. Before we get into the webinar, I have a couple of reminders for today's presentation. At the end of the presentation, we will have a question and answer portion, so please hold all questions until then. You can use the chat tab to write in your questions, and please note that this webinar is being recorded and will be available to view on the Florida State Parks YouTube channel and our website in the future. And with that, I'd just like to introduce our guest speaker here. Sam was born and raised in Headland, Alabama, and moved to San Mateo, Florida in 1964. He lives on the river 1 mile downstream from Dunn's Creek in the home he helped his father build. He had a 32-year career with Ford Motor Company, becoming a district manager for Ford Customer Division in their Orlando regional office. He is the president of the Bartram Trail Society of Florida and director/past president of the Bartram Trail Conference. Currently, he serves on the board of the Palatka Water Works Environmental Education Center and the Friends of Dunn's Creek State Park. He is the co-chair of the Putnam County Waterways and Trails Committee, and he was governor's appointee to the Florida Greenways and Trails Council. As president of the Bartram Trail Society of Florida, he is currently working with 6 Florida counties: Putnam, Volusia, St. Johns, Duval, Nassau, and Alachua, to establish the Bartram Trail in Florida. Thank you again, Sam, for taking time to speak on our webinar today. Sam will now introduce a few key speakers that contribute to the Bartram Trail success. After that, please feel free to share your screen for your presentation. Take it away, Sam. You can go ahead and unmute, Sam. Yeah.
All right. All right. Have you got me now? All right. Again, we're here on the riverfront here in Palatka, and we've got some very special friends I'd like to introduce you to. These are people who lived here in Palatka in 1774, and we're doing the St. John's River Bartram Frolic this week with our educational program. So I'd like to introduce you to Billy Bartram.
Good morning, folks. It's an honor to be here today on the banks of the St. Johns River, and I would just like to invite you this Saturday. We are having our Bartram Frolic right here on the banks of the St. Johns River, Saturday, April 12th, and I'm going to have a living history program here with some of my friends, the Long Warrior, Chief of the Seminoles, and also my guide, Job Wiggins. So I would encourage all of you, if you can, to try to make it out and visit with us on this Saturday on the banks of the St. Johns River here in Palatka. Right now, I'd like to introduce my guide, Job Wiggins, who keeps me out of trouble in my travels.
Well, hello, everybody. I hope to see you this Saturday at the Frolic. There's a lot to see, the wonderful people here, the Long Warrior and Billy Bartram. And I can explain to you the life of a trader on the St. Johns River and his adventures with Billy. There was many of them that we talked about, so please come see us and hear them in person. And here's the Long Warrior.
Hello, I am Miko Chaluko, the Long Warrior, and Billy is a good friend of mine. I am teaching him about all the flowers and all the things along, my home. And I'm teaching people of how we lived and how the frontiersmen lived at the time. So please come here this Saturday and for the frolic and have fun with us and learn.
Thank you, guys. This is a special time of the year. We do an educational program, and they're here talking to about 500 second graders today. And so they'll be going by and visiting and learning all about what the nature here is on the St. Johns River through Billy Bartram's eyes. It's really something. So that's I wanted you to meet those guys because that's a major part of the Bartram Trail of Florida. So I'd like to share a presentation with you that'll kind of bring you up to speed on exactly what the Bartram Trail Society, Bartram Trail is. So I can find my share button here. Let's see. Sorry. It went away, Gabriel. Where? Oh, there it is. I got it. Okay. Okay. So, and we got it up. It looks like it. So this is to inform you of what the Bartram Trail of Florida really is, and so it is started about 10 years ago when we were asked, did anything famous happen in Palatka? And when we did that, we were part of a Waterways and Trails Committee here in Putnam County, and so that evolved into the development of the Bartram Trail in Putnam County, which later became a national recreation trail. We'll talk about that further. But we have formed those organizations and have these other counties involved based on the mission of the Bartram Trail Society of Florida, which is to promote interest in developing public awareness, public access recreational trails, hiking, biking, and paddling, and related activities along the routes taken by John and William Bartram here in Florida. So that's kind of what we're about. And who started all this mess? Well, it was Billy Bartram that started it. And in 1775, John Bartram, who was King George III's, yes, the very same one we fought a revolution with, was his royal botanist. And he sent John down to Palatka or to Florida to reconnoiter what was then called the East Florida Territory. And he brought with him his son, which was Billy Bartram. And he could draw and he was really well educated and so forth. And so he came down and visited us then. And so Billy winds up publishing a book after in 1791, based on his excursions down here in 1774 to Spaulding's Lower Store here in Palatka. And Billy wrote the book Travels, and Travels became America's first literary masterpiece. So when we were back at our committee, when they asked us, did anything famous happen in Palatka? I said, turn to page 100 in the book of Travels, and you'll read all about Palatka there. So that generated an interest in actually establishing a Bartram Trail based upon all of the places that William Bartram wrote about or visited with by himself or with his father in 1765 and 1774. And so that's what created the Bartram Trail in Putnam County. So what did we have to do? We had to go find all these places. So we got into our kayaks and we started paddling the St. Johns River, much as William Bartram did in 1774, to find all of these locations for his book. And so, so we had a great time doing it. And all it took us about 9 months or a year to actually go out and find all these places. We found beautiful places like this, which is Satsuma Spring. This is private property, but it's one that William Bartram wrote about in 1766. And we find it exactly in the condition that William Bartram saw it did. So it was really, really neat for us to go to all of these sites and call those part of the Bartram Trail in Florida. And so it became really a quest for us and something that we really enjoyed doing, going to all these places and paddling all the 80 miles of waterways here in Putnam County, finding the sites, using the book to actually find these sites. And so we put signs up and all. And so again, there was a cooperative effort between the Putnam County Waterways Committee, the City of Palatka, the County of Putnam County, and the Florida Humanities Council actually provided us with funding to actually do this. And so that's how we got started with this thing. And so it officially, from 2013, when we first answered the question, did anything famous happen in Palatka, till we actually had a brochure and the park and the trail was opened, was that was in March of 2014. And so you see the map here, that's shown. The blue marks are and the yellow dots here are all the sites that we know Billy Bartram actually was at and described in his book. And the red are the land trails that he would have used all the way out to all the way across the state. But these are just strictly in Putnam County, and that's where we started. So then we created a brochure, and the brochure became really well received and so forth. And it has a lot in it, and I'll go over that with you later, because this is how you travel the Bartram Trail in Putnam County. And so that's how the Bartram Trail in Putnam County was created, was through the generosity of the Humanities Council and the city of Palatka and Putnam County. And that's how we wound up with this. These are the 31 sites that we noted just in Putnam County that Bartram went. And so I know you've heard of the Bartram Trail all over Florida, and it does exist all over Florida, and we'll talk about that later. But these are the kind of signs and kiosks. The one on the left, that is our trail marker. These can be seen from a mile away. Since most of Bartram's sites are actually on the St. Johns River, we had to have something that was visible from one site to the next one. And so this is where the QR code there, if you hit your phone on the QR code, it takes you directly to our website with William Bartram's description of that site. It's a great way to visit the river and understand the history of it. The kiosks are very important because they're informationalists too. There are 3 of these kiosks here in Putnam County. This is the one in Palatka on the right, and I'll show you some others here later. The inside of the trail of the brochure again shows the trail, has explanation of William Bartram and all of that. This is again the Bartram Trail kiosk in Palatka. This is the Stokes Landing kiosk. Stokes Landing was really significant because that, believe it or not, Spalding's Lower Store, located at Stokes Landing here in Palatka, was the center of European trade with the Native Americans here in Florida. The center of European trade with the Native Americans here in Florida. And it's really amazing. And that's why it was, and that's why Billy Bartram visited the lower store and used that as his base of operation, because that was the safe place. They had positive relations with Native Americans, and they definitely wanted that commerce to go on. So it was really, really important. So again, the Stokes Landing is very significant. And all of the drawings that you see on these kiosks were actually done by William Bartram. And so we use those for the description of each of these kiosks. This is the Willaca kiosk. We call it the Springs kiosk because, excuse me. Here is Satsuma Spring, the drawing of the pawpaw, the morning glory, and the Watula, which we know as the sandhill crane, the alligators on the St. Johns, very famous down in this area, and so forth. And it was just really a neat thing to go out and find all these locations. And that's how we created the Bartram Trail here in Palatka. So once we had created the trail, and once we had the brochure, then what we needed to do was create a website. And so this is the Bartram Trail Society of Florida's website, bartramtrailsociety.com. And it holds all of the information. You can do the Bartram Trail in Putnam County, and you will be able to do the Bartram Trail in the other counties based on the information that's here at this website. Now, I would like to try to share with you this website to show you how valuable it is and how all of the information is here. So let me click my share button again, and I'll click on that and say share. And there it is. So here's our website, and all it has a lot of information on it. But as far as outdoor recreation goes, it really all starts where it say county trails. So if you click on county trails, and I'm going to click on Putnam County right now, and then all of a sudden you get a list. You got a video of what of about the county and its Bartram Trail. Here's our map that you saw, and here are all those locations that you saw at on our that you saw on the map. Okay, so and they're all numbered. And so if you click on, let's say, well, let's go to Palatka. Okay, so if you click on Palatka, then you get a page here, and there's some interpretation here. And here's right out of Bartram's travels. There were 8 or 10 habitations fronting on the water. Some of the youth were naked and up to their hips in water, fishing with rods and lines, while others younger were diverting themselves and shooting frogs and arrows. They were civil and appeared happy in their situation. This is Palatka's legacy. This is the first European writing of describing the city, the riverfront here in Palatka, which I think is a great legacy for us. And these writings are actually what started our Bartram Frolic Festival here on the St. Johns River. So this is really important. So if you go to the Palatka site, in addition, you have down here, you've got photographs and so forth. But what really is interesting to me is if you click on travels, you actually get William Bartram's dialogue right out of travels describing the city here in Palatka at the area. And you can see it's extensive. We had a watermelon feast, and it's really fun to read about all of that stuff, which as you go on travel on the Bartram Trail in Florida, or in Putnam County in particular, it has very neat, it adds so much to your traveling, because now Murphy's Island means something, because you know that William Bartram was here in 1765. He was also here in 1774. And what did he see there? And what's there now? Putnam County is very fortunate in that most of the Bartram sites that are here are still in their native format. So for traveling the Bartram Trail here in Putnam County is an excellent experience. We'll talk about the other Bartram Trails a bit later. So if you click on journal entries, you get John Bartram's description of Palatka. And guess what? He was here on Christmas Day, 1765. We know that. And here is his actual description of Palatka. Isn't that neat? So you can virtually travel the entire Bartram Trail in Putnam County right here on the website by using this. And so it's and everything and we're doing that with the other counties as well. Okay, so I'm going to go back to share and go back to our PowerPoint presentation if I can find it. There we go. Okay, so we wound up with trail markers, 32 sites, brochures printed and distributed, website developed, information kiosk installed, regular local events as the one that we're having this week, and conducting and facilitating tours, and the partnerships formed that we have. So these are the people that we're after. These folks are from Georgia. They came down and spent a whole week with us, and they traveled the 80 miles of the Bartram Trail here in Putnam County in various forms. So they did a boat ride. They drove around in a car. They got their bicycles and rode around. And all of that trail information is on the website as well. So the Bartram Trail in Putnam County is now a national recreation trail. And it's one of the only national recreation trails in Florida. But what makes the Bartram Trail in Florida unique is that it's developed as a Bartram Trail. This is what the actual Bartram Trail looks like in Southeast Florida. And if you see, it goes all the way from North Carolina down through South Carolina and Georgia, all the way down to Florida, which he was here in 1774, and then back up to the Smokies, all the way across Georgia, all the way across Alabama and down out Mobile, took a boat, wound up going to the Mississippi River to the White Cliffs there at Point Tupelo. And then by that time, the Revolutionary War had started, and he wanted to go home and see his dad. So that ended his trip. So his trip started in 1773 and ended in 1776 back in Philadelphia. And so this is the Bartram Trail of when you hear about the Bartram Trail, this is it. So it's not a contiguous trail like the Lewis and Clark Trail. It's a series of pearls. So each of these cities and counties and the things that you see here listed are actual Bartram sites that you can go to today and visit. Some of them have markers and some don't. Okay, in Florida, this is what it looks like. So you see the Bartram Trail starting in up here in Nassau County, coming all the way down through Jacksonville. The blue line, if you can see the blue line here, is actually his water routes. The red line are his land trails that he took. So Old Kings Road was the road he used to get to St. Augustine, and he used the St. Johns River basically to get to everything else. And then here in the center here is Palatka. And then from there, that's where the lower store was. And from there, he traveled all the way over to the Swanee River to Old Town and to Manatee Springs, where he named Manatee Springs that. And so he spent a lot of time at Paynes Prairie Preserve State Park and Micanopy in that area. That was called Cuskawilla back then. And he spent a lot of time there. And that's where he was named Puggy. He also came all the way down south to Blue Springs in DeLand. And Blue Springs has markers and designated that area as Bartram Trail as well. So that's what the Bartram Trail looks like in Florida. So what have we done? Well, we started the Bartram Trail here in Putnam County. So shortly there, or while we're building the Bartram Trail here in Putnam County, Volusia County came along and they built their Bartram Trail. They're calling it the, oh gosh, what's it? I forget the designation. It's the River of Lakes Corridor down there. But their brochure looks just like ours and everything like that. St. Johns County in St. Augustine is actually a heritage city. Bartram lived there for a period of about half of a year. He also had a plantation in St. Johns County up near the Shands Bridge. And so that's very important. And so we're in the process of building the Bartram Trail in St. Johns County as well. So then you've got Nassau County, which is the first county he came to in Florida, and they're building a Bartram Trail there. Clay County is also a Bartram County, and they are building their Bartram Trail there. And then you've got Alachua County, who is working on theirs as well. Alachua County Bartram Trail is really large. You can see here on the map. And then the last but not least is Duval County, which has named everything on the east side of the River Bartram. If you've ever been up there, they've got the Bartram Center, they've got Bartram nail places, Bartram hair cutting places. They've got everything up there is named Bartram. They've got about 5 different Bartram housing developments. So our methodology is identify sites, place markers, and so forth and so on. So that's it. So as a result of us building the Bartram Trail here in Putnam County, a book has been written. It's called Travels on the St. Johns River. So if you're interested in Bartram's travels here in Florida, this is the book you can get from Amazon. And it is literally a guidebook for the river through Bartram's trails. And it's available on Amazon, $30, I think. And it's an excellent book written by Dr. Thomas Halleck. And also the second half of the book is Natural History of the St. Johns River. And that's written by Dick France. And then Dean Campbell did the cartography in this book. It's excellent. It's also been a movie made about Bartram, and it's called Cultivating the Wild. You can go on YouTube, look up Cultivating the Wild. It's a 50-minute video of modern day Bartrams that are there. And so our Long Warrior is part of that. And DeLand Springs, or Blue Springs and DeLand is definitely a part of it. There's a birder that's on there. and all. It's an excellent, excellent movie. So if you're in love with Bartram or you want to be in love with Bartram, you'll need to watch Cultivating the Wild. It's available on YouTube. And so just real quickly, Bartram Trail in Volusia County looks like that. And again, those are sites that we noted. 50 sites that they have. Bartram Trail in Volusia County kind of looks like this. This is their brochure. They call it the experience at the River of Lakes Heritage Corridor. So that's what they have developed. And this is one of their signs that they have. The Bartram Trail in Nassau County is 12 sites, and it includes a land site over through Callahan and Hilliard in that area, and then up and down the coast here in Nassau County is most things. So they've already got maps and all that with all the Bartram sites noted on it, and there are several. So, and St. Johns County, it looks crowded because it is crowded. Most of Bartram's travels in St. Johns County, he paddled through on the St. Johns River, but he didn't stop really anywhere. But most of his travels in St. Johns County was in this actual city of Palatka. And all. By the way, we began having the Bartram Trail Conference there in St. Johns County this year. Duval County, again, very crowded. You'll recognize some of these places: Sawpit Bluff, Trout River, Fort Caroline, Newcastle Plantation, the Museum of Mosh Museum there has a Bartram marker. The Marshall Plantation, Davis Plantation, Old Kings Road, and Doctors Lake, and all in it. Actual Alachua County developed the Bartram Trail that looked like this. This was done in the 1970s, and we've got to rebuild it, but it was the first one. And this is Bartram's drawing of the Alachua Savannah. It's really beautiful. So why do we do this? Well, this is it. The kids love it, and we have them come and visit, and we teach them native nature stuff. We teach them history. We teach them our legacy, and we have our living history folks that are here and all. We even have a Bartram troubadour, Lee Pinkerson, and she has written about 7 songs about William Bartram in Florida, including the Indian town of Tallushatchee and about Ahaya, the Indian chief that named Willie Bartram Puggy, which means the flower hunter. This is William Bartram, who you already met, and this is the Long Warrior. It's a different Long Warrior today, but this is what he does. And is he accurate? This is Bartram's drawing of the Long Warrior from his book Travels. You might have recognized it. And this is Jim Sawgrass, who portrays the Long Warrior. I think Bartram did a really good job of portraying William Bartram, or the Long Warrior. It's really amazing. And it's so much fun for the kids to meet these guys. And this is Job Wiggins. And his favorite thing to do is to teach our kids how to make fire without a match. They are absolutely amazed at it. It's really a fun thing. We have riverboat cruises on the Pride of Palatka, and we even go to Mount Royal for a religious meeting. Bartram was a Quaker, and so on top of Mount Royal, he writes a prayer about environmental stewardship. And so we visit there several times a year to recall that prayer. But most of what we do on the St. John here on the Bartram Trail is paddle. This is actually Walacka Spring here, right behind these paddlers, and it's just beautiful. And so that's Bartram's travels in the state of Florida, and that's the Bartram Trail of Putnam County and Bartram Trail of Florida. So that's about all I've got to say about that, Gabby.
That was awesome, Sam.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Yeah, awesome presentation. I hope you guys are all feeling inspired to visit and support the Bartram Trail in Palatka and the outside counties. Um, as of right now, we are going to open up the floor for questions, and we do have a couple to start with, so I'll go ahead and start with my questions. What kind of amenities can trail goers expect from the Bartram Trail and other counties such as Duval, Putnam, etc.?
Okay, so the only Bartram Trail that is, or there's two Bartram Trails that are open, Volusia County and the Bartram Trail of Putnam County. Okay, so all of the information about both of those are on our website. So as far as amenities go, you've seen what the signage will look like and the kiosk and so forth. And so that's what is going to be built. So right now we have contract with Clay County and with Nassau County, and they're actually out there planting signs and so forth. We're not building any trails because they already exist. So all we're doing is noting and informing the trail goers as to what what's out there and and all that. We use the QR codes to send that to the website to explain about the Bartram Trail. So it's really a great concept, and it's one that is good. And again, our dream in the long run is that every single one of these 7 counties becomes a national recreation trail once they have their brochure, once they have their signage up, once they have their interpretation already and everything. And so it's going quickly, actually.
Okay, awesome. Um, are there any volunteering opportunities with the Bartram Trail Society?
Absolutely. Actually, we need volunteers to raise their hand and you would go to our website and sign up there as a member. That would start you out. But you can send us an email at Bartram Trail Society at gmail.com, and we will be happy to put you to work. But we really need volunteers. Well, we need volunteers this week because of the frolic going on. We're expecting, we've done 5,000 second graders here at this thing, and we get about 1,000 visitors every Saturday that we do the frolic here in town. Last year we had events in Nassau County, Duval County, 2 of them in St. Johns County, Alachua County, and obviously Putnam County, and we saw over 4,000 people talking about Bartram. So as far as volunteers go, we need volunteers at all of those counties to come in and start forming their society, so that as the county builds the trail, there are people there who can help maintain it and all of that. So that we do need volunteers, and we need volunteers that are interested in the history, and we're interested in the nature, particularly hiking, biking, and paddling. Those are the 3 opportunities that we find are that we can get to all the Bartram sites using those things.
Okay. And Sam, if you would like to put in your contact information, I know you mentioned an email, just so that any of the viewers, if they want to reach out to you regarding those volunteering opportunities, they'll have that information.
Okay.
I think that'll be a great opportunity.
All right.
Yeah,
How
and
do
you
I do
can go
that?
ahead. There should be a chat option. You can just type your message in the chat if you find it.
Got it.
And I do believe that website was Bartram Trail Society, or the email was bartramtrailsociety@gmail.com. Um, so while we drop that in that chat, I do have one more question. And then if there are any questions, of course, drop that in the chat so we can go ahead and answer those. And then my last question would be, are there any new projects that we could expect from the Bartram Trail Society?
Yes, again, we currently have major projects going in Nassau County and in Clay County. St. Johns County, we need volunteers there too, because they have so many Bartram sites. They already have developed a virtual Bartram Trail similar to what we have on the Bartram site, but theirs is a GPS driven site, and we're now populating the information going into that through their Parks and Rec department. So yes, we need volunteers in St. Johns County, especially, to help us with that project, because again, we're involved directly at St. Johns County, Nassau County, and Clay County currently, and Alachua County is over there begging us to show up, but you know, we need to have a core group of people in each one of those counties that will follow through. We've got the pattern. We know what to do. and all of that. And we've got the website that will contain all of that information. And so what we need to have is the local people that will follow up and make sure that these, that counties and the Parks and Rec Department, all that kind of stuff keeps things moving. That's what we really need.
Okay,
Yeah.
awesome.
So in those
Again,
counties, it's active, and we would love to have folks come alongside us and help.
okay, thank you for that information. Please,
Mhm.
our guests here refer to that email in the chat if you'd like to be a volunteer and help out. Um, with that, we'll go ahead and wrap things up. Thank you again, Sam, for telling us all about the wonderful opportunities that the Bartram Trail has for trail goers. If anyone here is not yet subscribed to our monthly webinar series, you can do so on our website at floridadep.gov/OGT. Next month, we will have Mason Gravely from the Florida Wildlife Corridor. And if you have any questions or feedback about today's webinar or the Outdoor Florida webinar series, please feel free to email us at Office of Greenways and Trails at floridadep.gov. I'll go ahead and put that in the chat as well. And thank you again for joining. We'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Sam.
As Billy Bartram would
Bye.
say, peace and love. All right.
Peace and love. Bye bye.